As I crossed the 1,000 kilometer mark and also the 1 month mark of this journey from Mexico to the end of Central America, it was time to step foot in a place that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. This city was, for most of my life, the most dangerous city in the world. As a teenager growing up in the 2010s, watching YouTube documentaries in 360p, this was one of the most terrifying places I'd ever heard of. And today, I find myself right here in the centre of it all. We are in San Salvador, the capital city of El Salvador. This place was the most dangerous place in the world. As recently as 2016, if you came here, you were statistically more likely to be murdered than any of the active war zones of the time, which is mad. How about we start by taking a little peek at some of the statistics. In 2015, this city had 138 murders per every 100,000 people, which in case you don't realise is absolutely mad. Some days had over 50 murders in just a single day. And don't forget, this is a country of 6 million people. That's smaller than Ireland. This tiny nation is going through one of the most extreme cultural shifts of any country in the last 50 years. Yet nobody is paying attention. This is a country that has been engulfed in absolutely savage levels of violence for over 3 decades without any relief. Until now. This video is a rare peek into a country at that brief window of history between the end of decades of war and the start of mass tourism. It is crazy to think that I can just walk down these streets now. I am by no means in the nice part of town. I'm in a pretty rundown area. And even still, I'm a gringo walking down the streets. And just 2 years ago, I would have never been able to do this just because of the danger. So I have arrived at this crazy market in El Salvador, in San Salvador, and it's pure local, and the energy around here is insane. There's just everywhere you go, there's people kind of selling stuff everywhere. Hola. Yeah, there's just so much energy in the place. Hola. And all the people are kind of nice, and I'm literally like the only white boy here completely. But yeah, you can see they're kind of selling everything. Yeah. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola. Yeah, what a place to be, what a place to be. Like, the energy in this place is just incredible. Honestly, I don't think anything could have prepared me for my arrival to San Salvador. I walked out of my hostel and instantly got lost in the most incredible and energetic market I've ever seen. There was just so much life here. It's mad, isn't it, to think that in just 2015, just by walking down the street, I would have been more likely to be murdered here than any of the active war zones of the time. It's crazy. But now, here I am, walking down the street, and it's absolutely fine. Let me tell you what actually happened here, because it's a really impressive story. Before I tell you what's going on in El Salvador right now, let me first tell you about what's been going down for the last few decades, because it'll make a lot more sense to you. El Salvador was ravaged by an absolutely brutal civil war that lasted for 12 years and left over 75,000 people dead. Now, that is about 1 to 2% of the population of the country, which is insane. And that's not even accounting for people injured or with life-changing injuries or misplaced or missing. That's only the dead. So it was catastrophic. I mean, everyone knows someone that was either killed or wounded in it. This horrendous environment militarized an entire generation of young lads that had grown up surrounded by guns and death squads and brain matter lying around in the streets. Obviously, after a while, some people got fed up looking at bits of dead people lying all around them and thought, let's go somewhere else. And so they did. Hundreds of thousands of these lads fled to the US, and most of them ended up in Los Angeles. Now, you don't need me to tell you that Los Angeles was rife with gang violence at this time. And now hundreds of thousands of poor, undocumented, traumatized young lads that were desensitized to brutal guerrilla violence were now thrown into the mix. And it was in this hellish environment that the brutal gangs MS13 and Barrio 18 were born. These two gangs are just about the most sinister groups ever to emerge from US gang life, and they hated each other. The violence they unleashed on each other was previously unseen in the US, and the gang wars spiralled out of control. But then in 1992, the war ended, and finally there was peace. But as it happened, it wouldn't stay peaceful for long. Almost as soon as peace arrived, the US started deporting all of these gangsters back home to El Salvador. And what? You think these two gangs came home and just became a warm, fuzzy family now that they were back home? No, didn't go down like that. No, these hardened psychopath killers from Los Angeles came home to a country that was on its knees recovering from a very long and brutal civil war. There was no fully functioning police force, and the government didn't stand a chance against these lads coming back from years of killing and gang life in Los Angeles. It didn't take long at all for them to rise to power and basically hold the entire population hostage while they continued their bloody gang war. It kept spiralling further and further out of control until in 2015 the country printed the world record for the most homicides, the highest murder rate in the world, which was 138 per 100,000 people. Bonkers. But then in 2021 something happened, and this place has went from being one of the most dangerous places in the world to actually being one of the most safest in the region. So what's going on here in El Salvador? Well, Nayib Bukele is what's going on in El Salvador. So this guy is one of the youngest presidents in modern history, and he stepped into power and immediately built a supermax prison, and then went round and scooped up anyone that looked or smelled like a gangster, scooped them up off the streets and stuck them in jail, and they were never seen again. He hit these gangs so ferociously that he actually scared them away, and now this place has went from being one of the most murderous places in the world, in fact the most murderous place in the world, to being one of the least murderousy places in the world, which is mad. Locking up almost 2% of the entire population, likely forever, is bound to have horrendous costs on the culture in this country for decades to go. But standing here in the Central Plaza, I see something in this country. Well, actually, I don't see it, but I feel it. It feels like a country that's just happy to finally be at peace. People are bustling around everywhere. People are smiling. People are laughing. People are singing. Doesn't matter what day it is. Come into the centre and you will see it bustling with tons of people milling around right into midnight. You'll see people dancing on the streets, singing, enjoying the night with their family, because I think for the first time in their lives, they actually can. They haven't been able to do that before. And people have told me that themselves. This is the first time they've ever been able to. The last 2 years is the first time they've been able to just enjoy their life outside and feel safe. It feels to me, at least in my mind, what France or Europe in general would have felt like after World War II. It feels to me, I get the energy of this place, that it's a country still celebrating the fact that they're at peace, which is a beautiful thing to see and a real privilege to be here at this moment to see it, because obviously, you know, it's only a matter of time until you start worrying about all the other bullshit that doesn't really matter. But it seems to me that this place, they're still celebrating the fact that they have peace, and they haven't had time yet for all the other bullshit, to start worrying about all the other bullshit yet, which is a beautiful place to be and a beautiful moment to be here. So I'm pretty grateful to be here in this moment. I know this doesn't really suit the video, obviously. This is after the fact. I'm just chilling in my house right now, I'm not outside. But I'm editing this video right now, creating this video that you've just watched. And I just had a weird moment. I was finding some clips you might have seen throughout the video of the gangsters back from like 2013, 2015. Just had this thing where I'm looking at the video, the clips to edit them. And it's like, I'm looking at them, they're all teenagers. You know, all these people in the gangs. Just to think, like, all of those teenagers, every single last one of them, their life's over already. You know? Like, obviously they've committed terrible crimes. Like, just looking at they're just kids, you know, from these clips I've found. And to think now they're either dead already from gang wars, or they're in that supermax prison for the rest of their life. You know? Crazy.